We all know that there are a lot of pagans that try to stay healthy and happy by taking the right things into the body, by eating more greens and vegetation, things that are healthier for you, and staying away from a lot of the things that are not healthy for you, like a lot of very fatty type foods, etc. Getting out there and exercising, at least walking or hiking in nature, being at one with nature, gardening and planting things, putting your hand in the soil, and things of this nature, being at one with their own true nature of their spirit that maybe it took a long time to find in the earliest part of their life, but then became at one with it. But there are a lot of very healthy pagans and a lot of people that really take note of all of these things or try to do all of these things. But what about their magical practice? See, magical practice is in tune with that spiritual self. And yes, you could feel that you're healthy spiritually by being the good guru, going around and lighting candles, creating the right atmosphere for yourself, and all of this. But is that going to do it? Really? Magical people should practice their magic. A witch should witch. What would be the repercussions if you do not? Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I've noticed, especially since I live magically all the time. I live in a tiny house, tiny business, tiny space, where people come to me all the time to do with getting their tarot cards read, which, by the way, to me is a form of magic also. And that's because your spirit is tied to that, and you're sharing energy with your client if you're doing it right. Taking energy and kind of interchanging it with them, between them, you, and the higher power, and cycling that energy between the three forces, right? And to me, that's a very prominent form of magic. And I do other magics. I create candle works, I create charms and talismans for people, full out spell works that involve all of the above plus, you know. And so basically I do a lot of witching. I do a lot of magical practice. And if I have a really bad week, or if there's some reason why I can't open for a long period, like a week or so, then I feel it in my hands. My hands, my feet can get real hot. The top of my head or my face. And on a real bad time, for a long time away from magic, I can start going through full wave hot flashes. And I've been accused of burning who is now my ex. Whenever he was wearing shorts, we were watching a show together, and I had my hand on his leg. He's like, "Ow, you're literally burning me." And I had to remove my hand. At that point, I had taken notice that I hadn't used my magic in a while, and that I needed to get busy. Either casting up a circle and setting an altar, or just setting an altar and either creating a charm talisman or full out working for myself or for somebody in the very near future. If not, just getting outside, setting my butt directly on the ground, setting my palms directly on the ground, and feeding the earth all of this energy, because the earth needs that energy as well. And so, yes, it can, in that regard, become unhealthy not to witch when you are a witch, or not to practice magic when you are a naturally magical being. When you don't use that which is inherently yours, then there could be repercussions. Now also I noticed that when I don't use my magical practice for a while, I begin stressing over things. I become hypertensious. Taking note on at least one doctor visit that he talked about me having high blood pressure, and I went home and I started practicing my magic, and when he had me come back like a month later to get that retested, then that blood pressure was way down, and I had started doing a good deal of magical practice at that time. Likewise, when you're not witching, when you're not using your magic, then you can tend to also get a little more stressful, and in that you can start worrying a lot more and not acting as you would the good guru, because then the magical practice also reminds you as to who you are emotionally, mentally, and at one with the things that you do, and reminds you of the things that you love. And getting in touch with that nature and that natural side of you, by the way, because we're a witch or a pagan practitioner for some reason. We are, because it was always in our nature to act as such, to be such, from the time we were very young on up till now. And when we are not using our magical abilities, then we're not reminding ourselves of who we are, or the good feeling, the satisfying feeling that we get when we finish that work and we open the doors to air out all the smoke in the house from all the sage that we burned, or the magic that we gave to the air by burning it in our cauldron, our prayer in our cauldron to carry it on air, or whatever. You know, when we start putting away all of those tools and listening to the music that's still looping in the background from when we were doing our work, generally witchy magic type music, or nature and just peaceful, tranquil music, we're listening to that and it's resonating with us, it's ringing through us, and we're feeling so much more at one and at peace with ourselves at that point. Kind of like a chocolate fiend who's gone for a month without chocolate and finally got that fix, or a cigarette smoker who's having that first cigarette after 3 days of being without, stuck in the country, and coming up in the morning and having that first cup of coffee with that first cigarette for the smokers out there, or that jogger's rush for those that are into jogging, etc. You know, there's a lot of health just in feeling at peace and like you've acted in your element. Can it be unhealthy to not use magic when you're a natural magical being? Yes, it can be unhealthy, because for one thing, you're not being you. For another thing, you're not reminding yourself of your naturally inherent spiritual good guru self that is not at this time acting in your natural good guru self, and might be a little hypertensious and snappish at the people that are around you, and I've been there. Not paying attention to your favorite foods that are healthier for you, because you become lazier about paying attention to such things when you are not nourishing and nurturing that spiritual guru inside of you. And a lot of times that comes by you reminding yourself of who you are by staying at one with going into that pagan shop to take in the ambience, or to pick up a few stones and crystals or a few herbs you can't magic or witch without. You're not going to fall ill to cancer or heart attack or whatever from just not witching or practicing your magic. But I do think that you could get ulcers and hypertension by not being who you naturally are, and a lot of times it calls on you witching or practicing magic to remind yourself of that. Getting ulcers because you're stressing more than you usually would. If you were being more of who you were, then you might not be doing that. And high blood pressure, possibly a side effect. I did this in my last video. I so did. Not being able to talk, like a workaholic is what I said in my last video. And now I'm saying a side effect. Who the hell is talking through me here? Who am I channeling? You better show yourself or I'll kick some ass. Anyway, it sounds like an oldish, old-time person talking from the oldest days, doesn't it? And it's only been the past week that I've been pulling this. Okay, well, it's not unheard of with me because people drop off their spirits with me all the time. Not that I appreciate it, but I mean, some of them can be pretty good people. I mean, seriously. Either way, yeah, I keep doing that with side effect or workaholic. Anyway, the fact of the matter is it can be healthier to use your magic if you're a magical being. I don't know that I would say that you could become ill, but if you are feeling these very real physical effects, can't you? I mean, that's for debate here. That's for conversation, especially in the discussion boards below the video if you guys want to weigh in here, because, you know, I'm not a medical practitioner. I started to say magical practitioner. I am very much a magical practitioner, but I'm not a medical practitioner. And so I can't say, you know, that physically it would be unhealthy for you to not witch or not practice your magic. Although there are very real physical effects, I believe. But more associable to your spiritual and your mental and emotional self than your actual physical self. But remember, your emotional and mental, your spiritual self is tied very much to that physical body. And so maybe magic by direct influence to your physical health is not going to do it. That if you don't keep up your emotional, mental, and spiritual self, you will lapse, you'll end up on some kind of drugs that the doctors say that you need, or wondering what's wrong with you when you're just down and depressed, or what have you, which is very much not healthy. And that is how, by proxy, your physical health can suffer. So if you don't feel good, if you don't feel happy, if you are depressed, then it could be a danger to your physical health. In the end, I would say unequivocally, you're not practicing your magic can, and I'm not saying will or does, can affect you physically, medically, through your emotion, your mental state, your spiritual self. Anyway, tell me what your take is on the matter. This was a crossing thought of mine, and I thought a really good topic, and I would so love to hear you guys' take on this. And, you know, my opinion isn't the only one that counts here, and I'm not the only one with an opinion. So you guys tell me what you feel and think in the discussion boards below the video. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. I really thank you for watching till the very end. You be good to yourself. You stay spiritual and on top of things, but above all, witch. I just thought I would throw that in there. Bye bye, y'all. Bless.